Every major newspaper in Nigeria has an online version. It is especially crucial to update and break news. Discourse is an app which provides a veritable platform for readers of these online newspapers to engage and discuss any news story. Discourse emerged through the increasing use of virtual world technologies that acts as platform for end users to create, develop, and interact, expanding the realm of human communication, interaction, and creativity. Not only researchers and scholars are experiencing the importance of this new field, but also the news industry is strongly investing in these domains, and importantly too, society is responding with huge impacts and transformations through activities of online communities. Online communities are among the most obvious manifestations of social networks based on new media technology, and Discourse stands out as a community of contestations. These discussions present layers of interactivity and entanglement which provide counterforces of structures that resonate as evolving communities. Interestingly, these are presented in shared dramatic episodes, sometimes with cause and effect. In other words, presentations occur as dialogues with occasional directions provided by readers. Suffice to add that the readers' digital performances for the newspapers and byliners, this might aggregate as feedback. However, these readers as commenters are at times prone to textual violence, internet bullying, and hate speech. These actions and situations prove unsafe for journalism since the readers have pseudonyms or avatars or monikers which encourage anonymity. This research employs elements of textual and discourse analysis to articulate selected feedback and discussions from selected newspapers, and saliently provides critical perspectives from these entanglements. This research further utilizes dramatic models like characterization, character development, and script analysis to study the readers and their discussions. It conceives these interactions as not only virtual intersections, but as virtual convergences. It qualifies some of these engagements as repulsive, outright displays of intolerance. The research duly appreciates that the newspapers which have gatekeepers on these platforms, likely show agreeable levels of moderations by commenters in language and interactions. The research submits that even where anonymity prevents readers' identities, the presence of moderators is critical in providing some safety, and this is evidential in some newspapers. Permit me to stress here that virtual communities present how interactions and cognitive change are fostered by online communities. This study explores the phenomena of online communities and entanglement, drawing on differential factors of participation in discourse. It provides a basis for reasoning the dynamics of virtual community building. The role of self or individual as a member of a virtual community is taken into account, as is the development and design of technology as a means of expanding and improving the opportunities for community building. 𝗕𝗀𝗪 describes virtual communities as groups of netizens who share common interests, hobbies, and likes. They are created through links with social media networks and other social interactive sites. 𝗘𝗀𝗀𝗾 notes that although communities have been interacting since, the concept of virtual community is relatively new and has certain connotations. Relatively, Reingold defines virtual community as social aggregations that emerge from the net when enough people carry on these public discussions long enough with sufficient human feeling to form webs of personal relationships in the cyber cafe. We argue that discourse is drama, it is theater, it is a space where a performance happens. It is an amalgamation of dramatic concepts which manifest as interactions, interactivity, and entanglements, infusing elements of dialogue, emotions, language, and the spectacular by the commenters in that community. We contend that the manner of how the comments happen present as a play in action. This is so too because commenters use their names or avatars and respond in time to others, or put their own comments which might like or open up another sub-thematic stream. We argue further that discourse as a drama is an enabling resolve in human activity, requiring the essence of role play and action. It thrives on controversy. The impetus of drama is essentially cultural. Culture in this way gravitates between what is a competing reality and what might be a conflicting moment. It suggests a convergence of thesis and antithesis. Importantly, drama happens and it is within a space. These elements that make drama are essentially resonated by how Peter Brook suggests in The Empty Space when he remarks that I can take any empty space and call it a bare stage. A man walks through this empty space while someone else is watching, and this is what is needed for an act of theatre to be engaged. In the context of this essay, what is implied is that drama can only happen when there is an enactment of more than one person in a given space. This space could be explained as a cyberspace. Cyberspace is a new form of perspective. It does not coincide with the audiovisual perspective, which we already know. It is fully new perspective, free of any previous references. It is a tactile perspective. To see at a distance, to hear at a distance, that was the essence of audiovisual perspective of old. But to reach at a distance, to feel at a distance, that amounts to shifting the perspectives towards a domain it did not yet encompass. That of contact at a distance, telecontact. This is Virillo cited in 𝗗𝗀𝘃. If we acknowledge Brook's perspective from Virillo's, we would understand that the concept of space has assumed a new dimension in drama, in the sense that enactment can now be relieved in the cyberspace to create another reality. This enactment creates an interactivity of sorts, as the space is continually activated by persons so that entanglement is relieved. Isaac Troff offers another insight to this phenomenon. I quote, "A play, when enacted, must take place somewhere. Its performance must occur in some real visible space or in an area fulfilling that purpose. That much is obvious. But what is perhaps less obvious is how complex space in drama once it is subjected to analysis. In the theatre, space is more than a complicated environment. The main point to bear in mind for the moment is that space in drama is not one-dimensional. It is best classified in accordance with the modes of transmission by the encoder and the perception of the decoder. This seeming reality finds relevance in the thoughts of Harding. In Africa, the audience-performer relationship is one in which the interaction between them is a suspension of the ordinary rather than a suspension of reality. Thus constitutes most of the heightening of the reality in which it is recognized that ordinary people can become extraordinary for a period of time. Following from this is a preference for multi-layered performances, whereby any one performance may, within a single performance, be at a point acting and another point presenting self. So we're going to be talking about discourse, discussion, and drama. Okay, so Dr. Dele 𝗘𝗿𝗀 is a regular columnist in The Vanguard, one of Nigeria's daily newspapers, which online version provides a veritable platform to appreciate discourse and drama. In a short special report authored by him and published on 18th May 2024, he highlighted under the headline, "Tinubu 1 year on, hope deferred, not renewed," that Nigeria has been under severe economic challenges that has been badly managed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu BAT, president of the country. 𝗘𝗿𝗀 criticizes BAT's platform, Renewed Hope, as rather discomforting to Nigerians in the past 1 year of his presidency. Indeed, 𝗘𝗿𝗀 elaborates on his missteps, faux pas, and policy inconsistencies, which have further increased Nigerians' hardship. Some of the policies include the removal of fuel subsidy, the free flow of the naira, Nigeria's currency, and the increased electricity tariffs. 𝗘𝗿𝗀 explains that these were done without any strategy in place to mitigate the effects. The report elicits 86 comments on the Discourse platform, which is at the bottom of the page immediately after the report. We shall analyze a few of the comments while highlighting them as performance with elemental concerns about context, language. The first frame, figure 1, from the outset, 𝗗𝗄𝘀𝘀𝗀, that's his name, disagrees with 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗀𝘀. He finds the headline rather misleading and is quick to suggest hope turned into nightmare. He will call Tinubu Tifnibu. This cutting change of the president's name, which reads rather abusive and insulting, is also extended to how 𝗗𝗄𝘀𝘀𝑛ess perceives Nigeria. He calls Nigeria Zugeria. His name 𝗗𝗄𝘀𝑛ess suggests a radical distance from the Nigeria state. He presents as one closer to the banned independence people of Biafra, IPOB, who see Nigeria as a zoo. This is rather pejorative. It is safe to remark that 𝗗𝗄𝘀𝑛ess would unlikely see any good about Nigeria or her president. The second frame, this frame, figure 2, dramatizes another part of the discussion. Vita in diaspora, which is his name, might be a Nigerian outside of the country. He begins by ridiculing the other caste commenters. He begins his response with his response, Bula Blue Bala, a reference to Tinubu's incoherent speech during the 2023 general election campaign. The other references as Lagos builder draws attention to Tinubu's years as governor of Lagos, 1999 to 2007, where reported economic concerns was all about internally generated revenue. The same concerns seem to be replicated with his presidential attention to taxes and more taxes. Indeed, in a trending video during the 2023 election, he had remarked that he will reduce the purchasing power of Nigerians and widen the tax net. However, no mention is made to the improvement of the lives of Nigeria. Vita in diaspora's words strikes a note to the comment of Senator D. Professor Wole Soyinka and Co. Where una dey? This is in Hebrew, in Pidgin English. Hypocrites. Let us quickly mention here that the Nobel laureate is presently in the eye of a storm, which supposed opposition made up of young people, otherwise called obedience. The social media is awash with this virtual fight. Frame 3. This extends the trend to reflect the perceived virtual altercation between the Igbo and Yoruba. Kolawole 7 is obviously a supporter of Tinubu, and he takes a swipe at Canon, who he finds as a loser. We remark here that this bigot war is very rife on X, that's former Twitter. The war has been consistent just before the general elections and has assumed another proportion. Then we move to frame 4 or figure 4. This frame presents the Nigerian, that's his name, the Nigerian as a patriot and pacifier. He has hopes for a better Nigeria and is unconcerned by the pessimism exhibited by Ekoma International Media Engineering. That reads like a global name. Frame 5, the Nigerian has an ally in 𝗔𝗀𝘃, and the encounter with People's Will, another commenter or character, is another reflection of the ability of both divide sides of the drama to appreciate the thematic concern of 𝗘𝗶𝘀𝗀𝗋's special report. We move to frame 6. Joshua 2007 takes the drama to another height. He provides a theological perspective to the whole dialogue. The Bible quotation offers some hope for Nigeria. Joshua 2007 spiritual remark faces an uncompromising challenge from Canon and 𝗘𝗀𝘃. Let's conclude. We have contended that discourse presents as drama, and that in the matter a play happens, the commenters as cast have conveyed their emotions, sometimes succinct, at times rude, and in other times with a whiff of concern and hope. We notice too that their language is at times vulgar, intimidating, and abusive. We see a recourse to bullying and the intentional response to hold on to opinions, even when the commenters might be wrong. We are wont to mention that the competing reality in Nigeria today has necessitated dispositions for the various players, or actors, or commenters. We can conclude that these commenters have been unknowingly involved in the drama exercise, which border on interactivity, while probing notions of entanglements and discourse. We need to mention here that they have done this spontaneously, perhaps intuitively, in a matter that conjures images of trolling. Although this presents as unfortunate, it does offer for us another prism to situate online performances drama as a space needing some form of restraint and caution. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Adios.